Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Subhadramai Jaya Sudarshana Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parirajagacharya Ashtotra Satar Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parirajagacharya Ashtotra Satar Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Swami Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namachar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Grantara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Yugadharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Srila Prabhupada Transcendental Book Distribution Ki All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing from Canto 2 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Chapter 10, titled as Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Verse 32. Gunatmakan indriyani bhutadi prabhava gunaha manas sarva vikaratma buddhir vijnana rupini. Gunatmakan indriyani bhutadi prabhava gunaha manas sarva vikaratma buddhir vijnana rupini. Gunatmakan indriyani bhutadi prabhava guna manas sarva vikaratma buddhir vijnana rupini. Gunatmakan indriyani Tadi prabhava guna manas sarva vikaratma buddhir vijnana rupini. Gunatmakan indriyani Mana sarva vikaratma. Bhutadi prabhavaguna. Mana sarva vikaratma. Matajis. Word meaning? Gunatmakani, attached to the qualities. Indriyani, the senses. Bhutadi, material ego. Prabhava, influenced by. Gunaha, the modes of material nature. Manaha, the mind. Sarva, all. Vikara, affection, happiness and distress. Atma, form. Buddhihi, intelligence. Vijnana, deliberation. Rupini, futuring. Translation purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. The sense organs are attached to the modes of material nature, and the modes of material nature are products of the false ego. The mind is subjected to all kinds of material experiences, happiness and distress, and the intelligence is the future of the mind's deliberation. Purport. Illusioned by the material nature, living entity identifies with false ego. More clearly, when the living entity is entrapped by material body, he at once identifies with the bodily relationships, forgetting his own identity as spirit soul. This false ego associates with different modes of material nature, and thus senses become attached to the modes of material nature. Mind is the instrument for feeling different material experiences, but intelligence is deliberative and can change everything for the better. The intelligent person therefore can attain salvation from the illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. An intelligent person can detect the awkward position of material existence and thus begin to inquire as to what he is, why he is subject to different kinds of miseries, and how to get rid of all miseries. And thus, by good association, an advanced intelligent person can turn towards better life of self-realization. It is advised, therefore, that intelligent person associate with the great sages and saints who are on the path of salvation. By such association, one can receive instructions which are able to slacken the conditioned soul's attachment for matter. And thus, intelligent man gradually gets rid of the illusion of matter and false ego and is promoted to the real life of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuhu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So before starting, I seek the blessings of all the devotees assembled, and especially I want to thank His Grace Ananta Chinti Prabhu for inviting me to serve all the devotees here. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So we are discussing second canto, chapter 10, titled as Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. In the beginning of this chapter, first few verses, Sukadeva Goswami tells about the 10 topics of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which makes Bhagavatam into Mahapuran. Atra sarga visargascha sthanam poshanam utayah manvantara ishanukata nirodho muktirashayah. So these 10 topics are covered throughout the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and the 10 topics very important to understand. Sarga means creation, visarga means secondary creation. The first Lord creates all the most important foundation elements and then hands over to Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma further gives shape for the universe and creation. That is Visarga, secondary creation. Then Sthanam. Sthanam means what? Where different planets are situated. No, that it's covered in mostly 5th canto. The different dvipas and all the different planetary systems, everything is covered in 5th canto. Sthanam means placement of different planets and different people based on their qualities and all those things. Sthanam, Poshanam. Poshanam means maintenance, nourishment, protection. How Lord protects His devotees. And Lord protects His devotees in spite of their mistakes. So even though devotees, they do some mistakes, in spite of those mistakes, Lord continues to protect those devotees. That is vividly described in 6th canto. How different devotees, in spite of doing different mistakes, how Lord doesn't forget to offer His protection, doesn't withdraw His protection. That is described vividly in 6th canto, which is called Poshanam, nourishment, protection. And 7th canto tells about Uti. Uti means impetus, tendency. So that is vividly described through the history of storyline of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. How somebody had a wrong inclination and what is the consequence of that. How somebody had the right inclination, that is Prahlad, and what is the consequence of that. And so the 7th canto very much puts in front of us clearly that this is, if you have this tendency, you'll become like Hiranyakashipu, and these are the consequence of that. And if you have this kind of tendency, you become like Prahlad, and this is the consequence of that. And you decide what you want to do. That is Uti, Poshanam, 7th canto it is. Then Manvantara, 8th canto described about different Manvantaras. We have 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma, isn't it? And in each Manvantara, who are the demigods, who are Saptarishis, who become Indra, and those things Manvantara 8th canto describes. And 9th canto describes about Ishanukata, different pastimes of Lord, especially Lord Ram and Parashuram, and also to some extent Matsya. So those things are described in 9th canto, Ishanukata. And we have 10th canto, which is compared to the lotus face of Lord, the most important canto of all the cantos for us, which gives almost full description of Lord Krishna's pastimes, dedicated in 10th canto. Bhagavatam contains almost 335 chapters. And of these 335 chapters, 90 chapters are dedicated for only Krishna's pastimes. And in those 90 chapters also, 40 chapters are for Vrindavan pastimes of Krishna. Although Krishna lived for 125 years on this planet Earth. And how many years Krishna stayed in Vrindavan? Only 11 years. And remaining 114 years, he was in Mathura and Dwarka. Yes. But Vrindavan pastimes are so important for especially all Gaudiya Vaishnavas that 40 chapters are dedicated for 11 years. And 114 chapters are described in 50 chapters. 114 years pastimes. Yes. So like that 10 topics Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes. We go ahead, Nirodho, Mukti. The 10th canto is called Ashraya, shelter. And 11th and 12th cantos are called as Nirodha and Mukti. Yes. And then that is the first section Bhagavatam describes, in this chapter describes the 10 topics and the definition of that. Each topic, what does it mean exactly? That's what discusses. Mukti means what? Mukti hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthitaha. So Mukti means what? Giving up other identities and situated in one's own constitutional position, that being servant of Krishna. That is Mukti. For everything like Poshana means what? Uti means what? Then Sthanam, so everything in that first few verses describe. And then next section what we are discussing now is the description of how the creation happened. So the first time description of creation is coming in second canto, in Bhagavatam in one sense. That how creation is happening and how different senses, sense objects, sensory devatas and subtle senses are created. This is a description from starting from around 10th, 11th verse. It goes on and on to the end of the chapter. Yes. How Virat Rupa, Virat Purush, he wanted to see. Because he wanted to see, eyes manifested and the object of vision is manifested, and sensory devata, sun, got manifested. Yes. Similarly for everything. For example, Supreme Lord, Virat Purusha wanted to work. And that's so two hands got manifested, work manifested, and sensory devata is Indra. He is manifested because of his desire to work. Similarly, he wanted to hear because the ears manifested, the power of hearing is manifested, and the objects of hearing, the great sages desire to hear, like though it manifested. Similarly, he wanted to smell. Because he wanted to smell, the nostrils manifested, the different smells manifested, and the sensory devata of Vayu, air, is manifested. So like that, whatever sense objects, senses we have, it's all because of the desire of Virat Purusha. So even for the creation of the bodies, material bodies, we are very much dependent upon the Lord. Without Lord's desire, all these elements cannot come together. Yes, in third canto, we will discuss that how, although all these elements were existing, still they were not able to come to the life. And they go on prayer, to the Lord. And then Lord glances upon them, and then all of them come to life. Yes. So, even for getting created, our bodies, our senses, different sense objects, and the power for executing the senses, all these things comes from Supreme Lord. So, in that way, we are completely dependent on Lord. Even for executing our basic senses, works of the senses, we are dependent on the Lord. So that's what this tells. And currently this verse is telling about Gunatmakan Indriyani Bhutadi Prabhava Guna Manas Sarva Vikaratma Buddhir Vijnana Rupini. The sense organs attached to modes of material nature and modes of material attached to false ego. The mind is subject to all kinds of material experiences, and the intelligence is the future of the mind's deliberation. So basically what he is telling is that how senses are being carried away by sense objects. Senses are attached to the sense objects. And the sense objects appear attractive based on false ego. Sense objects appears attractive based on false ego. And then mana, mind, is the storage also of all experiences, happiness, distress, thinking, feeling, willing, all these things. And intelligence is something which it can discriminate. That mind cannot do. Intelligence only can discriminate. So in that sense objects, senses, false ego, and mind, intelligence, their respective roles are described in this verse. Yes. So senses automatically, when it comes under sense objects, it becomes carried away. When the eyes sees something very delicious, eatable, like rasgulla or gulab jamun, Jai Shri Radha Madhav ki, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki, Shri Prabhupada ki. So when the eyes see something delicious, eatable, immediately it takes the signal and sends to the mind. Mind searches for the previous experience. Did I ever eat rasgulla or gulab jamun? And yet it ate. Immediately it sends out positive signal. Yes, you ate well before, it was very nice, very delicious. So immediately the signal goes to the tongue. Tongue develops desire to eat. And then again the signal goes to the hands. Okay, I want to purchase. Do I have money? Then hand goes to the pocket to search whether I have money or not. And everything is available, ready. Then immediately what happens? The intelligence guides them hands to purchase and eat it. So in that way, based on our past previous experiences, senses are carried away by the sense objects. Yes? And sense objects appear attractive based on false ego. So what does this mean? So all sense objects are not equally attractive to all living entities. Yes? For a pig, what is attractive is stool, isn't it? The pig becomes very much excited when it sees the fresh stool. And when the same pig is offered halwa, it's not at all attractive, isn't it? And for a human being, halwa is very attractive. Halwa is sense object for the human being. And when a human being sees halwa, he is excited, hot, ghee dripping halwa. The halwa is dripping the ghee and tongue is dripping the water. Yes, because very attractive. But for the human being, stool is not at all attractive. So based on our identification, what we identify with, accordingly sense object also appears to be attractive. Very important. Yes. For a she cockroach is very much attractive. And for a human being sees she cockroach, you cannot identify also whether he or she. Isn't it? You cannot identify also. Cockroaches are very ugly. You cannot attract it. But she cockroach is very much attracted by the he cockroach. It runs behind it, practically. Based on identification. Based on the identification. Like that. But when the he cockroach is presented Miss Universe of human being, it doesn't even care for her. Isn't it? Miss Universe, so beautiful girl. Or even Apsara is kept in front of the he cockroach. It do not even see, do not even care to look at it. Isn't it? So based on what the soul identifies with. Because soul thinks that I am the body of he cockroach, I am he cockroach. And what appears attractive to me is she cockroach. Strong identification. And similarly, the soul identifies with male body, human body, then female human body appears attractive. Wrong identification. Based on the identification that is false ego, sense objects appear to be attractive. Yes. And that is what. And then manas sarva vikaratma, needless to say mind, the functions of the mind, we know better. How much mind troubles and torments and disturbs and distracts our Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? Many times we identify with the mind. The problem is what? Many times when we hear, I am not the body, I am not the body, isn't it? What do we understand? What do we understand when we hear, when we speak, I am not the body? We think I am not the gross body. Yes? But I am not the body also includes I am not the subtle body also. But that goes to background, isn't it? We keep on thinking, okay, I am mind. Yes? And because we identify with subtle body, we identify with the mind, whatever mind speaks, we think I am speaking. Whatever mind wants, we think they are my wants. Getting? Because of identification with the mind. Yes. So we should, when we practice Krishna consciousness intensely, then we don't identify with the mind, we start identifying the mind, how it is different from us, and I am not the mind. The mind may propose, mind may force, they can do so many things, but still the steering wheel is in our hands. Just like now if you are driving a car and you want to come to temple, yes, mind is like your passenger, sitting beside you or sitting behind you. The mind can force you, okay, you want to go from here to Madan Mohan temple, okay, but mind tells no, don't go from here to Madan Mohan, go to movie theatre, go to park, go to garden, go here, go there, go to restaurant, go to hotel. Mind may shout, mind may propose, mind may scream, but mind cannot snatch steering wheel from your hands. Getting? The steering wheel is in your hands. But the moment we start identifying with the mind, okay, mind wants to go to, that means I want to go to restaurant, I want to go to movie. Then what happens? The moment we identify with the mind and think that mind's wants are my wants, so then we follow what mind is telling. Yes, Prabhupada tells in Nectar of Instruction, preface, introduction, the first step in self-realization is to control mind and senses. The first step in self-realization is to control the mind and senses. And the first step in controlling mind is what? Identifying the mind. That mind is something different from me. And mind's wants are different from my wants. They are not my needs. They are not my, that is, they are minds, not me. So then we can, when we identify mind something different from me, then we can tell no to the mind. Yes, but as long as we identify with the mind, how can we tell no to the mind? Because we think that is what mind is telling, is my wanting. I cannot do it. So that's why manas sarva vikaratma. Because all the past impressions, they're positive, negative, happy, sad, successful, failure, all those emotions are stored in the mind. Yes. And that's why that mind has to be controlled by mantra. The man has to be controlled by mantra. Mantra means what? That which controls the mind. That which conquers the mind. That which purifies the mind. So when we sit and chant attentively, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we sit, chant and hear what we are chanting, then the mind is controlled. So chanting means what? Hearing. How much we are hearing what we are chanting. The problem is what? As soon as we put hand in the bead bag, mind escapes. Mind is gone somewhere. The most important person to be purified, he only escapes. And when it comes back, mind escapes when you start first stone, first Mahamantra, and comes back last stone, last Mahamantra. Just like many times we want to, some devotee is creating some problem and we want to address in a meeting. We call for the meeting, so that we address that issue in the meeting. But problem is what? That devotee doesn't come for the meeting. Everybody else comes, oh, that devotee is missing. And what is the use of having the meeting? Jisko problem wohi nahi aaye. Isn't it? So same thing, the mind, the whole process of bhakti is for purifying the mind. But mind is so intelligent, that it escapes purification. Yes. So man has to be controlled by mantra. The senses are controlled by engaging them in Lord's service. Rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. The senses to engage in Lord's service, physical service. Man by mantra. And buddhi by reading scriptures, studying scriptures. So in that way, our whole existence can be purified. Yes. So if at all we want to purify our mind, then we have to chant. Our mind is troubling, we have to chant more loudly. The more you chant loudly, the mind comes running, hey, what happened? What? And you sit and hear now, don't go anywhere. Yes. The mind has to be purified by mantra. Yes. And then last is telling Buddhi Vijnanamaya Rupini. The intelligence. Yes. The intelligence becomes strong, sharpened by the study of scriptures. Study of scriptures. That's why we are so fortunate. Srila Prabhupada so mercifully gave so many scriptures for us. He translated into our languages. The purpose is what? To study the scriptures and make our intelligence sharp. When the intelligence is sharp and strong, then it can control the mind. Mind will come with all plans of sense gratification. Eyes want to see something and ears want to hear. Though, because senses control the mind, mind controls the intelligence. If intelligence is not strong. But if intelligence is strong by study of scriptures, so then intelligence can control the mind. And mind can control the senses. That's all. That's why we have two extreme kinds of people. One are materialistic people and second pure devotees. For materialistic people, what is the hierarchy? Sense objects control the senses. And senses control the mind. And mind contaminates the intelligence. Exactly the hierarchy becomes ulta. Yes, in Lord Krishna tells in the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Indriyani paranyahu, indriyabhyo paramana. Isn't it? Indriyani paranyahu. So senses are beyond sense objects. And mind is beyond the senses. And buddhi is beyond the mind. This is actual hierarchy. But for materialistic people, the hierarchy becomes completely reverse. Sense objects control the senses. And senses control the mind. And mind controls the intelligence. And what is the result of that? Hell. He goes to the hell. But for pure devotees, it is exactly opposite. Isn't it? The soul is the topmost. The soul controls the intelligence. Intelligence controls the mind. Mind controls the senses. And senses control the sense objects. This is for pure devotee. Isn't it? So these two are static hierarchy. They don't, for materialistic people, always this is the hierarchy. And for pure devotees, always it is a hierarchy. But there is somebody who is between materialistic people and pure devotees. Who are they? All of us. Sadhakas. For us, hierarchy is very dynamic. It's not static. It is dynamic. How? Sometimes we follow materialistic people, sometimes we follow pure devotees. When our intelligence is strong, we follow pure devotees. Isn't it? Intelligence controls the mind, intent controls the senses and sense objects, like that. But when intelligence is not nourished, not strong, not sharpened, then sense objects takes over the senses, which intent takes over the mind, and which intent takes over the intelligence. Yes. So it's in our hands very much to control, to strengthen our intelligence. And it is our responsibility, each one of our responsibility, to keep intelligence strong by study of the scriptures on a regular basis. Isn't it? So Prabhupada writes in the purport in between, the mind is the instrument for feeling different material experiences. But intelligence is deliberative and can change everything for the better. The intelligent person therefore can attain salvation from the illusion of material existence by proper use of intelligence. So when we use the intelligence in a proper way, when we strengthen it, then we can attain salvation. Otherwise, impossible. An intelligent person can detect the awkward position of material existence and thus begin to inquire what is he, why is he subject to different kinds of material existence, and how to get rid of all miseries And thus, by good association, advanced intelligent person can turn towards better life of self-realization. So this intelligence is awarded only to the human beings. What intelligence? The intelligence to inquire about the problems of life. Isn't it? That's what makes human beings different from animals, right? Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesho dharmasya hina pashubhi samana. So what is that dharma? Dharma basically means what? Intelligence to inquire about the problems of life. That animals cannot ask. Animals only ask about where is my food, where is my sleep, where is my mate, where is my shelter. That's it. They can't ask anything beyond these four things. But human beings are awarded a higher intelligence to inquire about these questions. Why am I suffering? How to put end to the suffering? Is there permanent life? What is life after death? So these questions human beings can ask and find out the answer. Yes. And that he can do with the help of intelligence. And then how we can get the answer? By good association. When he gets good association. Though his intelligence is material intelligence. But how can that material intelligence turn into spiritual intelligence? By good association. So when he takes association of devotees, then his material intelligence transforms into spiritual intelligence. Spiritual intelligence. And then he can get the answer for the questions and he can decide to live a life dedicated for self-realization. Otherwise, impossible. Isn't it? That's why association of devotees is very important. Association of devotees is very, very important. We come to the Krishna consciousness process by the association. We remain in Krishna consciousness because of association. And we go back to Godhead because of association of devotees. Isn't it? So it's very much important that we remain in the association of devotees. In the association, when we remain in the association, the intelligence becomes sharpened, strong. And what kind of association? It's not that staying together, eating together, sleeping together. That's just one kind of association required, no doubt about it. But not sufficient. In the association, what we should do? Discuss the philosophy. Mat chitta, madgata prana, bodhayanta paraspara. Katayantascha mam nityam, tushyanti cha, ramanti cha. In the association, what we need to do? Discuss Krishna Katha. Discuss Krishna Tattva. About all this, the different philosophies. So by which our intelligence becomes strong. And also by which we can develop loving relationship among devotees. By keeping Krishna in center. So if we just stay in the association but don't discuss Krishna Katha, don't discuss the Tattva, then Shloka remains like that only. Only in the place of Tushyanti cha, Ramanti cha, it becomes Pushyanti cha, Daranti cha. We keep on pushing each other, hey, seva karo, wo seva karo. And as soon as the manager comes, we become fearful. Daranti cha, seva kiya, kya, kiskar seva denge. We become fearful. So, in the association, we need to make sure that keep Krishna in center. Krishna Katha in center. Then we can develop loving relationship. Otherwise, fearful relationship in the devotees. Yes. So association plays a very role to bring the people to Krishna consciousness. Because people are looking for the answers for these questions. And they can't find out answers themselves unless we give them the association. And very happy that we find that Attapura devotees, they go out and distribute Prabhupada books. I saw one short recently. 1 minute I'll distribute one Bhagavad Gita to members. And it did successfully, that devotee. So very, very important service that the greatest service we can, the greatest charity is the charity of knowledge. So although people tell Annadan, Raktadan, they are all, but the greatest charity is charity of knowledge. Because people are suffering because of ignorance. People are suffering because, as the Nectar of Devotion tells, people are suffering because of sinful action. And sinful action is because of desire to enjoy. And that is because of ignorance of one's identity. The root cause of all suffering is ignorance. And the root solution for removing ignorance is knowledge. Knowledge of this, who am I, who is God, what is the relationship, that knowledge. Yes. And that knowledge will be received only in the association of devotees. And all of you are so gloriously distributing that knowledge every day practically, isn't it? So it's very important service. That's why Prabhupada told the most important service is distribution of books. Because it's not just book distribution, it is knowledge distribution. And that knowledge removes the ignorance. Ideally, we should call knowledge distribution. Because we are the knowledge is distributed through books, we call book distribution. But actually what we are distributing through book distribution is the spiritual knowledge. By reading which, people's original identity, their consciousness gets awakened. They understand that I am not this body, I am not the mind, I am spirit, soul, part and parcel of Krishna. My duty is to serve Krishna. And that's what they get. This, even for a moment, any person comes in touch with devotees, his life transforms. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi hoy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra koi, Lava Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi hoy. Even for a moment, somebody associates devotees. Life is changed forever. Yes. And after coming to the association of devotees, it's our responsibility to keep on taking higher association. It's not that, okay, I came in the association, I know what I'm supposed to do, finished. No. Even after coming in the association of devotees, we need to keep on taking that association by inquiring from our seniors. So then our advancement keeps happening. Otherwise, it stops. In material world, everything flows from top to bottom. Isn't it? Water flows from higher level to lower level. Electricity flows from higher potential to lower potential. And similarly, Krishna consciousness flows from higher level to lower level. So if you don't regularly upgrade ourselves, if you don't regularly endeavor ourselves to advance, then by default, we go down. Yes. So anything we want to raise from one level to higher level, we have to put energy. Isn't it? For example, the kartal is there. If at all this is at particular height, if at all I would take from this height to that height, but apply some energy, potential energy, mgh, isn't it? Then it will go from one level to higher level. Yes. Even if I have to hold at this level, I should be applying energy. If I don't apply, what will happen? It will fall. It becomes freely falling body. Yes. So even to remain at one level of advancement in Krishna consciousness, we have to apply energy. If you don't apply energy, freely falling devotee. So what to speak of going from one level to higher level? We have to apply more energy. Yes, and for that energy, application of energy, we need inspiration. And that inspiration we get by the association of more advanced devotees. So when we take association of more advanced devotees, by their association, by their instruction, by their guidance, our intelligence becomes strong, convinced, and by which we can take further steps in advancing Krishna consciousness. Mind gets controlled. That's why Jiva Goswami tells the pure devotees, they practice Krishna consciousness on the level of preeti, love. Because they are very already pure devotees, isn't it? They love Krishna, spontaneously practice Krishna consciousness, isn't it? But for us, sadhakas, we need to practice Krishna consciousness based on buddhi, intelligence. For pure devotees, it's preeti, love, isn't it? For them, attendance is not required for Mangalarti. Attendance is not required for Mangalarti. Even if you don't put attendance, they will come. Because whole night they will not sleep only. They are waiting when Radha Madhava will give darshan. In separation, they don't sleep only whole night. They keep on chanting. Yes. But for us, that's not the condition, isn't it? So then what inspires us to come for Mangalarati? One is maybe, if at all we have fear of punishment. That is one inspiration. In the beginning days. But at least over a period of time, okay, when our intelligence is convinced, then this is important for me. This is vital for me. Intelligence is convinced, then one need not be chased behind. Hey, when you are coming for Mangalarti, why you not come for Mangalarti? Where were you in chanting? Why you did not reading Prabhupada's books? That chasing is not required if one's intelligence is convinced. That's why Krishna speaks about Buddhi Yoga in 2nd chapter. And Prabhupada many times translates Buddhi Yoga as Bhakti Yoga. Isn't it? So, at our level, we have to sharpen our intelligence. We have to practice Bhakti based on Buddhi. So why this is required for me? Why this is important for me? So when we keep on asking this question, our intelligence is convinced. So then the intelligence in turn control the mind, which in turn control the senses and sense objects. And whole this phenomenon can be achieved, can be made very easily, the association of advanced devotees. Lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi. That's what Prabhupada is telling here, that it is advised, therefore, intelligent person associate with the great sages and saints who are on the path of salvation. By such association, one can receive instruction which are able to slacken the conditioned soul's attachment for matter, and thus intelligent man gradually gets rid of the illusion of matter and false ego and is promoted to the real life of eternity, knowledge and bliss. By the association of devotees, the material identity is slackened. We find in the case of Maharaja Rahugana and Jadabharat. So Maharaja Rahugana was very much identifying himself with the body of the king and want to control, want to exploit, all these things. But when he met Jadabharat, and who spoke profound transcendental knowledge, he immediately got down from his palanquin and offered full obeisances and asked more questions, by which his whole conception of life got changed. The chapters from 5.8 to 5.11-12 in 5th canto, very important chapters, because discussion happens between Maharaj Rahugana and Jadabharat. So he was thinking, I am the king, you are servant, you are supposed to follow me, all these things. But when Jadabharat starts speaking the transcendental knowledge, who is master, who is servant? In this life you are king, but next lifetime you may become servant. The soul is neither master nor servant, it is only servant of Krishna. When he speaks transcendental knowledge, immediately the Rahugana gets down and asks further questions. And Jadabharat answers them, all of them. So within matter of few hours, the Rahugana's whole life is transformed. Yes. And we also find in the life of our dear Srila Prabhupada. So before meeting Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was very much following Gandhi. Yes, he also ignored his certificate, his degree, and then wearing khadi and supporting Gandhi movement very much. Yes. But when he met Bhaktivinoda Thakur proposed that you are a young, educated gentleman. Why don't you take the message of Lord Chaitanya and preach all over the world in English language? In first meeting only, he was instructed. Immediately Prabhupada did not agree immediately. That time he was Abhay Charan. He asked a question that, yes, I do agree, but let first India get independence. Who will hear this message now? Indians are under subjugation. They cannot hear. So once we get independence, then we will preach. Bhaktivinoda told, no. The only lacking in this entire world is Krishna consciousness. And this Krishna consciousness cannot wait for anything. These empires, they come and go. They don't stay for long. But the only important thing required is Krishna consciousness. Right now we should take it. So he was identifying himself Deshabhakta, patriotic before meeting. But after meeting, his life got transformed. And then he came out and told his friend Narendra that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is in the right hands. And that day itself, Prabhupada accepted Bhaktivinoda Thakur as spiritual master in his heart. Few minutes of meeting. Lavamatra sadhu sangam. As I was telling, that who are able to slacken the conditioned soul's attachment for matter and false ego. Slackened. Yes. So that's the power of association of devotees. That the hard knot of false ego is cut. Vidyate hridaya grandhi, chidyante sarva samshaya, kshiyante chasya karmani, drushtaye vatmanishvare. The hard knot of false ego is cut. And when it is cut, Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti surutsatam. When we hear Krishna Katha, and from whom he will hear Krishna Katha? The devotees, in the association of devotees. Tada rajastamo bhava kamalobhadayascha chetayete rana vidham sitam sattve prasidati. When we hear about Krishna Tattva in the association of devotees, then rajastama, kamalobha, they are destroyed. One comes to mode of goodness. And the mode of goodness, one can understand transcendental knowledge. And in that mode, all the doubts and the hard knots, everything is cut into pieces. Isn't it? That's why very much important that we take association of advanced devotees. And that association, we study Prabhupada books, we hear from them, and then inquire questions and solve our doubts, by which intelligence becomes strong. When intelligence becomes strong, automatically practice also becomes intense. Isn't it? So intelligence is strong, strengthened by the association, by sadhana, reading, hearing, then practice becomes intense. The practice is slack because the intelligence is not strong. So, and it's each one of our responsibility to keep our intelligence strong. But whatever is required, take association, study Prabhupada books, hear lectures, whatever is required to do, we need to do it so that we make our intelligence strong, by which our practice becomes intense, by which anarthas are destroyed, and we are on our fast track back to God. So to summarize, we discussed how in the beginning of this chapter, the 10 topics of Bhagavatam is described, and later how Virat Purusha, because of his various desires to see, to smell, to hear, to taste, to produce the different sense objects, and the respective sensory devatas, they are all created. And coming to this verse, we saw how the senses are attached to the sense objects, and sense objects appear attractive based on one's identification, one's false ego. Yes, and how mind is the storage of all past experiences, and how intelligence is Vijnana Rupamayi, discriminates. It's based on the false ego, the sense objects appear attractive. We discussed how for a pig, stool is very attractive, not halwa. For a human being, halwa is very attractive because of the identification with the body. And how mind troubles so much, how mind is the root cause of all the problems, and how to keep our intelligence strong by taking the association of devotees, by studying Prabhupada books, and by hearing, intelligence becomes strong. Then we can follow the hierarchy of pure devotees, where intelligence controls the mind, which controls the senses and sense objects. And we discussed the example of Jada Bharata and Rahugana's meeting, and Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur's meeting. Hare Krishna. I pause here. Any questions, comments, additions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, you have given a very wonderful class. जब सेवा करते थक जाता है, भक्ति नहीं कर पाते प्रभु जी. We regularly go for book distribution, so what should we do? Sometimes we take rest in the daytime. Sometimes I take in during japa time because of health issues. So what should we do, Prabhuji? Some suggestions for our Sankirtan devotees.
If you get tired after service, come and take some rest, not a problem. So that in the body, because body is energetic, then it can do Manipura very attentively. So after coming from your service, if required, you can take rest. In my understanding, not a problem. It's okay. Body is regenerated for further service. Because sadhana, Manipura also is service. It's another type of service. Isn't it? So, not a problem.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी आपने बताया कि हमको अगर माइंड इधर उधर जाता है तो हमको जोर से जप करना चाहिए, तो
माइंड जाए तो जोर से जप करना चाहिए। हाँ हाँ।
तो कभी कभी क्या होता है आसपास में और भी भक्त होते हैं, अगर जोर से करें तो उनको भी डिस्टर्ब।
थोड़ा दूर जाके जप कीजिए। आपका जप आपका मन को वापस ले आने, दूसरा मन को डिस्टर्ब नहीं कर रहे। थोड़ा दूर जाके कोने में जाके जोर से जप कर सकते। ठीक है,
धन्यवाद प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि हम स्टडी करते हैं बुक्स, तो उसका इंटेंशन क्या होना चाहिए? क्योंकि कभी कभी हम स्टडी करते हैं लेकिन हम पढ़ते पढ़ते उसको पीछे जो पढ़े होते हैं उसको भी छोड़ देते हैं, फिर आगे से पढ़ते पढ़ते फिर ख़त्म हो जाता है बुक, लेकिन उस नॉलेज को असल में जी नहीं पाते हैं। तो ऐसा क्या होना चाहिए कि इंटेंशन स्टडी करते समय जो नॉलेज हमने लिया है उसको लाइफ टाइम उसको इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकें?
तो जब स्टडी करते समय उसका मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट इंटेंशन है भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए। तो प्लीज़ भागवतम गीता क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं हम? भगवान को प्रसन्न करने के लिए, वो टॉप मोस्ट पर्पस है। और सेकेंडरी पर्पस क्या? हमारे इंटेलिजेंस को स्ट्रांग करने के लिए। लेकिन इंटेलिजेंस पढ़ेंगे तो क्या होगा? ये पढ़ेंगे मन का क्या गुण है, बुद्धि का क्या गुण है, पता चलेगा ना हमको। मन से हमको दूर रहना चाहिए, बच के रहना चाहिए, पता चलेगा हमको। तो इससे हमारा भक्ति भी थोड़ा इंटेंस होगा। और जो भी पढ़ते हैं आप सब याद रखने का जरूरत नहीं, हो भी नहीं सकते। सो आप पढ़ने के बाद थोड़ा बुक बंद करके आप लिखिए, आज मैं आधा घंटा पढ़ा, मैं आधा घंटा में मैं क्या सीखा, क्या मुझे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लगा। वो पेपर लेके उसमें लिखिए आप 3-4 पॉइंट, 4-5 पॉइंट। आपको पता चलेगा कि आपने पढ़ा कि नहीं, क्योंकि आप बैठ के पढ़ते होंगे लेकिन मन नहीं रहेगा उधर, कभी कभी मन भाग जाते किधर। तो आपने कितना ध्यानपूर्वक पढ़ा कैसे मालूम होगा आपको? तो आधा घंटे बाद बुक बंद कर दीजिए, पेपर पेन लीजिए और याद कीजिए मैं क्या पढ़ा, क्या सीखा मैं पिछले आधा घंटे में। तो कुछ भी याद नहीं आ रहे हैं, अभी अभी पढ़ा आपने, और कुछ भी याद नहीं आ रहा है, मतलब क्या? कुछ भी पढ़े नहीं आपने। कुछ तो याद होना चाहिए, है कि नहीं? तो कुछ तो याद होना चाहिए। तो आपको जो इंपॉर्टेंट लगा, इसलिए आप पढ़ते समय बैठ के स्केल, पेंसिल या पेन लेके बैठिए। आपको कुछ पॉइंट्स इंपॉर्टेंट लगा, तुरंत क्या करना चाहिए आपको? उसको अंडरलाइन कीजिए, उसके बाद थोड़ा मनन कीजिए, प्रभुपाद क्या बोलना चाहते हैं, इसका मतलब क्या है। तो प्रभुपाद सिर्फ उसको पढ़ना नहीं, एक स्तर में पढ़ना सिर्फ, लेकिन जो अलग स्तर के है उसको समझना भी है। और आपको कुछ शब्द या कुछ सेंटेंस समझ में नहीं आ रहे, सीनियर भक्त के पास जाइए, पूछिए उनको, ठीक है नहीं? तो पूछना चाहिए कि नहीं? तो पूछिए, समझिए उसको क्या बोल रहे प्रभुपाद। और तीसरा स्तर क्या है? उसको हमारा जीवन में प्रैक्टिस करना। पहले स्तर पढ़ना है, दूसरा स्तर समझना है, तीसरा स्तर जीवन में उतारना है। तो आप पढ़ रहे हो या सुन रहे हो, जो भी हो, दोनों का ये 3 करना है: श्रवणम, मननम, निधिध्यासन। श्रवण मतलब क्या? जो श्रवण कर रहे हैं या पठन कर रहे हैं उसको अच्छे से पढ़ना। दूसरा मननम मतलब क्या? समझना उसको। और तीसरा निधिध्यासन मतलब जीवन में उतारना है। ठीक है?
हाँ, मुझे एक और क्वेश्चन था कि जो स्क्रिप्चर्स हैं उसमें ऐसे बहुत सी नॉलेज है जो कि मतलब कुछ याद करने जैसी चीज़ होती है, जो मतलब जैसे कि किसी के नाम हो गए या फिर इसने इस समय क्या किया था। जैसे महाभारत में जो पूरी स्टोरी है, तो महाभारत को पूरा याद करने की तो कोई ज़रूरत है नहीं।
वो महाभारत जनरली अभी ज़रूरत नहीं. फर्स्ट हमको पहले जो प्रभुपाद दिए पुस्तकें, भगवद गीता, भागवतम, चरितामृत, ये तीनों कम से कम एक बार तो कंप्लीट करना चाहिए. उसके बाद जाइए महाभारत को. तो महाभारत में क्यों नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए हमको? क्योंकि महाभारत में शुद्ध भक्ति ज़्यादा एम्फोसिस नहीं किया. उसमें बहुत सारा कथा है. उसमें क्या क्या बोलते हैं? कर्मकांड में बोलते. अब ये करेंगे तो स्वर्ग जा सकते, स्वर्ग के लिए जाने के लिए क्या करना है, वो उसके बारे में ज़्यादा बोलो. शुद्ध भक्ति ज़्यादा एम्फोसिस नहीं किया महाभारत में जितना हमारा भागवतम में, चरितामृत में किया. इसलिए हम पढ़ेंगे फर्स्ट कैंटो में 5th चैप्टर में व्यासदेव महाभारत लिखा. लिखने के बाद भी क्या हुआ? वो असंतृप्ति फील कर रहे थे, सेटिस्फैक्शन नहीं फील कर रहे थे. उसके बाद नारद मुनि आके उनको उपदेश दिया. उसके बाद आगे जाके भागवतम लिखा, ठीक नहीं? तो हम सीखते कि पहले जो प्रभुपाद ग्रंथ दिए वो पूरा एक बार, कम से कम एक बार तो पढ़ना चाहिए. उसके बाद महाभारत के पास जाइए, नहीं तो जीवन में महाभारत हो जाएगा. कंफ्यूज हो जाएंगे ना आप. अरे भागवत में एक बोल रहे, महाभारत में भीष्म के बारे में कुछ ज़्यादा बोलते नहीं. भीष्म गलत क्या बोलते, ठीक है नहीं? लेकिन भीष्म के बारे में भागवतम शुद्ध भक्ति के बारे में प्रस्तुत करते. लेकिन महाभारत में भीष्म के बारे में क्या बोलते? तो भागवतम फर्स्ट, भगवद गीता, भागवतम, चरितामृत, उसके बाद महाभारत. ठीक है,
थैंक यू.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the class. So in this shloka, it's mentioned, and you also mentioned the importance of strengthening intelligence. By strengthening our intelligence, we can conquer the mind and the senses. But in the Shastras, we find so many instances. The person with so much intelligence, who studies for so much time, they fall down. And this signifies that ultimately our strength of intelligence cannot save us. Like we have a case of Ajamil, who was daily studying scriptures, daily worshipping Shaligram Shila, but at that moment he has gone. We study about Raja Nahus, who went to the Indra Loka on the post of Indra. Nahusha. And then he also fall down. Like that Bhagavatam is so many of the kings, Yayati Maharaj, they were all very, their intelligence they are hearing directly from the sages. Sages were coming personally. But the strength of their intelligence cannot save us. So how to understand this? What is the ultimate thing that can save a soul from?
So first thing is we need intelligence, strength of intelligence required. But apart from that, we also need mercy. And how do we get mercy? By doing services. By serving Vaishnavas, by serving Guru, we get that mercy. The combination of intelligence and mercy can save us. So both are required. And Prabhupada's instruction is we should study his books. By studying what we are doing, one level our intelligence is getting strong. And because we are following Prabhupada's instruction, we are also getting mercy. Both are happening simultaneously. Because it is Guru's instruction, study Prabhupada books, Acharya's instruction, study Prabhupada books, and we are following it, we are getting mercy. And when you study, your intelligence is getting strong. So in both ways, both you are getting by studying his books. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samasta Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Thai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. I am also struggling to practice, not that I am realized, so I seek all your blessings and prayers so that I can also apply whatever I spoke. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada ki.